go. So, hello and welcome to episode 3 of the Scottish Running Podcast with myself, Sean Gaffney, Pete Tucker. And now we've
Hello.
got a in my opinion, you've got an absolutely outstanding guest today. I don't know if a lot of you kind of maybe older folk maybe heard of Tommy Murray, but Tommy is a runner from Greenock who achieved outstanding running career. Tommy remains the part of the British men's team, the last British men's team to medal at the World Cross Country Championships, and he was in very good company in that team as well. And he's also the proud owner of a world individual silver medal from the World Mountain Running Championships, which was held in Edinburgh as well. And I think it's kind of arguable to say Tommy, on a medal basis, he's probably from Greenock in the area and from Scotland. We're one of the most successful runners. So please welcome Tommy Murray to the podcast. So, how are you, Tommy, first of all?
I'm absolutely brilliant.
Excellent.
I'm in good shape now. I'm not running. I don't know whether I look healthy or not, but some people say I look healthier than what I did when I was running.
I know, I'm the same. Like through COVID, I just kind of took I was training for marathons, took a bit of a step back and went to the gym a bit and put on a wee bit of muscle. And people, oh, you're looking well. I was like, this is what it feels like. This is what life post running is like.
It's not until you stop running you realise how unhealthy you actually looked when you were running.
Yeah, absolutely.
That's right, Tommy.
My,
I don't know if it's the same with you, Tommy, but whenever a few years ago in my case, but when I've been quite fit and running well, and someone comes up to you and they say, "Oh, are you okay? You don't look well. You look ill." And normally that's when you're fittest. So I think some of us runners take that as a compliment. Is that the same with you?
Well, my nickname I used to get called the White Ethiopian. So you can imagine how bad I looked.
Fair enough. Well, listen, obviously, I've had a little bit of a look on the Scottish Running History website about yourself, and obviously Sean's filled me. Obviously, not had the privilege to meet you until now, so it's great to catch up. But Sean's filled me in on your running career, and I'll be honest, having been having run for Inverclyde since sort of 2017, been up here myself sort of for 6 years or so. Obviously, I've heard a few stories, so the name is there, the legend speaks for itself. So we'll look forward to hearing a bit more from you. But what I'll do, I'll just quickly kick things off. What we've been doing, obviously this is our third episode, so it's just in the making, if you like. We just do like a little quick fire round. So I'll just crack on with that, if that's all right with you.
Yeah, no problems.
Brilliant. Okay, so first of all, and obviously we've heard a little bit already about your running career, but question one is just your sort of best achievement or your proudest PB. Which one?
Proudest PB was probably running 29:09 at Meadowbank for a 10,000 metres in a really wet and windy night. I was really chuffed with that one. Best rate, most memorable race, quite a few actually. But I went to Holland and ran a cross country race over there as a virtually unknown, and I won it. So, and I went back a few times later and won it again. So that was one. It's called the I'll try and pronounce it, Downdicht cross country meeting, something like that it was called. But that was probably I loved that because it's so different when you go abroad, Mark, because like I ran an international race in Irvine, Scotland, England, Ireland, Wales, and two men and their dog. Seen it. You run a race abroad and like 20,000 will come out to watch it. It's unbelievable.
Yeah. Brilliant. Okay. No, that's great. Thanks for that. All right. Moving on. So just your favourite male athlete.
Favourite male athlete? I've got quite a few of them, but I'll stick with John McGugie.
Okay. John McGugie, right. Okay. Fair enough. Athlete, question number 3 would be your favourite female athlete.
Favourite female? Liz McColgan.
Yeah, great shout. Yeah, that's interesting because our previous 2 guests have gone for Paula. So obviously, yeah, Liz was a great runner, obviously, and it's good to see her daughter now following in her footsteps and surpassing.
Fantastic.
Yeah, unbelievable. Okay, right, next one. So this is one again. I'm not sure the answer here, but I look forward to hearing about this one. Your favourite football team?
Glasgow Rangers.
Glasgow Rangers are that's good. That's good. Obviously, I know my fellow host isn't he's on the other side of the fence, but I'm a neutral guy myself. So I just got to turn that notification off there. Right. Yeah. So no, Rangers, great. I went to again. I'm trying not to name drop here. I've mentioned. In fact, I'm not going to mention his name because I mentioned him in the previous 2 podcasts, so I won't name drop him. But in terms of Rangers, I actually went to school with Michael Beale. So there you go. Fun fact.
There you go. Well, I could tell you an interest. Well, I could tell him name drop a couple of things here. I was sponsored by ASICS almost most of my running career, probably for about 15 years. So I had to go up to Glasgow to a hotel near the SECC to sign a new contract.
Yeah.
So I walked in, there was a guy called Jeff Sheard, who was the CEO. So I'm in, sitting down in sort of the foyer, and he says, I'm just waiting for somebody else coming, they're going to sign a contract as well. So in walks Ali McCoist.
Oh, wow.
So
yeah.
Me and him signed my contracts with a wee chat, blah, 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 that's fine. So a number of years later, through at Edinburgh, I think it was Edinburgh 10K.
Yeah.
And in with sort of elite athletes and invited guests, and in walks Ali again. And he's looking at me, and I looked at him and says, I'm a guy, remember we signed the contract? Oh, that's right. So blah, 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 with a wee chat. Roll on 15, 20 years after that.
Yeah.
You know I'm a youth football referee now.
Okay.
So I'm doing a game up in Port Glasgow, and I look to my side, and there's Alistair McCoist. And then so I'm going to be staying here. So at half time, I'm standing at the side of the park, and sort of he's at the far side. So I walked over to him. I said, how's it going, Alistair? He's looking at me, and I was like, not remember him. And he's like, you're the boy who does it running, and I said, what are you doing here? His son was playing. And then I went on to referee his other 3 sons throughout my refereeing career, and we became quite good friends now. So I've refereed every one of his sons. There you go.
Yeah, that's good to hear, because I think he was staying not a million miles from where, because I'm in Bishopton. I think he was in Formackin at one point, the Formackin estate just there, and I gather he's in Bridge of Weir now. Is that right, Bridge of Weir?
Bridge of Weir, that's right.
Yeah, right. Okay, brilliant. All right, thanks for that. Okay, moving on then. Just 6 more questions. Favorite movie?
I would probably go for Forrest Gump.
Oh, brilliant! Yeah, great. Okay, great shout. All right, and then here's one for you. Most interesting person you've met through running?
Oh, maybe not. Well, I've met a few. I've met Frank Bruno. I've met Alistair McCoist.
Yeah.
I've met Jimmy Savile, but we'll not go there.
Okay.
Quite a few, actually. Quite a few. John Nagugi. Dieter Baumann. Met quite a few.
Yeah. Okay. No, that's great. All right, and then so moving on, we've got your favourite race that you like to do, whether it's a big race or just a local race. A lot of us have our local races that we like and we go to every year, but just your race.
I would say the Troon 10K.
Right.
Race.
Okay. Brilliant. All right, Troon 10K, and then this is one I'm quite interested to hear your thoughts on this one. Your favourite session?
6 times 1,000 with a minute recovery.
Right, I'm actually going to write that down right now. I'm not even 6 times 1K off a minute. Okay, so again, I know this is meant to be my quick fire round, but I'm going to need to just elaborate a little bit there. So what are we sort of looking at on one of your good days? What are we hitting there for those K reps?
Time-wise, in the summer, because I do winter and summer, that one on the track. Probably the summertime I'd be hitting 2:41, 42.
Wow, yeah.
The winter time maybe about 2:47, 48.
Right, brilliant. Okay, good stuff. All right, it's good to hear. Okay, moving on. Where are we? We've lost me page. Right, so the next one is number 9. Your favourite food?
My favourite food? Well, now it's totally different, but then it would probably be Weetabix and bananas.
Okay. What about now?
Anything unhealthy. Anything that's unhealthy. I've been dead lucky, Mark. So like my weight's. When I was running, I was probably running about 8.5 stone, 8 3/4. I'm 9 stone now, so on nothing,
That's good. Okay, brilliant. All right, and then finally, just your if you've got a phobia or a pet hate.
Frogs.
Frogs. Okay, brilliant.
I went with the Scottish team to Malaysia, and then we flew on to Borneo to run the World Mountain Running Championships.
Yeah,
and we were staying sort of middle of outskirts of the jungle type thing, and right outside the cabin that we were in was a wee pond, and every night these huge fucking frogs would come, and Jesus, I just couldn't go. I could not go out the fucking door. I had to keep saying to Chris Robertson, "You need to go out first and fucking chase them away." So I just can't. I just can't go there. Be terrified of these frogs. It's unbelievable.
Brilliant. I can't. Well, I think if ever I was to race you in your prime, if I'd have known that information, I would have had it by a pond, and I would have had Paul. Is it the Frog song playing by Paul McCartney? But there we go. There we go. Cheers for that. All right, Sean. I'll back over to you, mate.
Aye. So I didn't know half of that information anyways, Tommy. But no, like obviously I've known you for a while. So I was, in fact, when I first started running, it was also Janice Hendry who noticed me when I was like a 15-year-old boy running about the streets and that, and she said, "Come on it to the track and whatever." And back in those days, the Inverclyde Juniors they trained at Rankin Park. But I get the days mixed up, and I turned up at the track, and you were there. And I was like, "I'm supposed to meet Janice," and you're like, "Oh, she's at Rankin Park," and you gave me a session. You gave me a, I was like, "Oh, I ran before," and you gave me some 200s to do, and you're like, "Right, how'd that one feel?" And I remember waking up the next day, my hamstrings were like, "What the hell did you do to us last night?" That's how I met yourself. But obviously through like running and stuff as well, I know how an incredible runner you were. And also through Inverclyde, you helped Inverclyde, win a lot of medals as well.
Yeah.
But through your running career, it's been outstanding. So from the beginning, Tommy, where would you say your running career, really started? Where did you start running?
Where did it start? Right, that's quite easy. Obviously, when I was younger, I wasn't very well, so suffered quite badly for a number of years. But then when I started to get better, I was doing a wee bit of jogging, not much, maybe about 3 miles every other day. And I went to a local nightclub in Greenock, and I knew one of the doormen, and one of the doormen was trying to raise money for a young boy who had bone marrow cancer, and he was asking people to take a sponsorship and run the local 10k. So I was like, I'll try it. I'll get a go. So took the sheet, ran the race, and finished third behind a number of local athletes. So I can't remember my time is. That's irrelevant. I know I finished third. So a number of them for Glen Park Harriers approached us and asked us to join, and I said no. But there was one guy who worked with my brother, a boy called David McGee. My brother worked in the post office. He kept persisting and kept going on, and I said, right, okay, I'll come down to the club and give it a try. And I remember my first night going into the clubhouse, and I walked in, and there was all these grown men wearing tights, or Ron Hill tracks, as they were called in them days, but it was tights to me. And I'm looking and going, I'm kind of looking and going, what the fuck's going on here? Like, because I've come from Greenock, I come from the East End of Greenock, where dogs are free to walk about in single file, you know what I mean? So I said, okay, right, I'll do a training run with them. I went for 5 miles, and it was quite easy. Then we come back to the clubhouse, and then they had a huge big bath. Then 3 of them are jumping into the bath at a time. So that's me again. I'm taking a wee step back, going, "Oh, wait a minute, this is not for me." So I never went back for a couple of weeks, but this guy kept going on and on and on. So I eventually went back and joined, and the rest is history. Within a year, I was running for Scotland. But my chance, the biggest thing that happened to me, which I think helped my career, or helped set off my career. One night I was down the Battery Park, which is a large park in Greenock, and I used to just run to the clubhouse, down to the park, do 2 laps of the park, and back up the clubhouse, which sort of added up to about 6 miles. Here, one night I met these 2 guys. One was called Hammy Cox, and the other guy was called Lackey Stewart, who I knew nothing about. Nothing. Yeah. Well, you know who Lackey is, 10,000 Commonwealth, 10,000 metres, beat Ron Clark and stuff like that. And they said to me, "Do you want to come and try a session?" And I'm saying, "What's a session?" I've not got a clue. A session to me, for East End of Green, was going on a drinking binge.
Yeah.
So I ended up went and done it with them, and that was it. Loved it. Met them for several weeks on end, and just kept doing these sessions. Brilliant.
Wow. I mean, and I think a lot of people know that, but also with Inverclyde itself, like they do get like over the years, like yourself, a lot of world class athletes. I mean, Lackey Stewart come over here, and he trained with a lot of guys over here. Laurie Spence, Cammy Spence, yourself, Mark Pollard as well. I know when Mark maybe in any other generation, Mark might have been up at the world, but I think that's when 1500 metre runs start to really take off. But the area, the amount of runners Greenock have had who have been, a lot of potential there and have achieved a lot of success is quite amazing. And then obviously yourself, that you've won your world medals, but we'll go into that in a wee minute or so. But actually, a year later, you ran for Scotland, and then what race was that in?
It was the Isle of Man. It was a cross country race. It was on the Isle of Man. It was Scotland, England, Wales, and Ireland. I went over there as I think it was a 3-man team with me, Bobby Quinn, and a boy called Eddie Stewart.
Mm-hmm. Wow.
That was a real eye opener for me, because I thought when you ran for Scotland, it was going to be so professional and you get all this new, nice, shiny gear. No, you had a second-hand vest and you had to hand it back after the race as well. I was like, wow, man. Weren't even allowed to keep your vest.
I know. But no, I think I did it as well. No, not for, I think I was running second clean for some club and they're like, it's 20 quid for the vest. I'm like, all right, okay. I was like, all right, well, you asked me to run, but,
I went to, and I managed to make the 1987 World Cross Country in Warsaw. That was the last time you get the 4 home nations running as individual countries. So they let me keep my vest there. I'll show you. I've got it here. It's still, I don't know, 1987. It still looks in good. Well, I think it looks in good. Like my wife said, it's terrible, but that's it there.
No, that's what you call retro.
Brilliant. Yeah,
that's a retro vest, isn't it?
They should make the vest like that again. Adidas.
I know.
Well.
I said that. I still wear that sometimes.
It does. It looks a bit like the Scotland football top, the old retro ones.
That's right. That's the wee sticker they gave us at the World Cross in Warsaw. I thought that was fish. It's actually meant to be feet.
That's amazing. You kept all that as well. But,
I've kept a few things. I've actually not really got that much stuff, but I kept a few bits and pieces throughout the year. I've gave away my British gear. I've gave away my Scottish stuff and that. I've just got 2 vests and a couple of wee magazines and stuff like that I've kept.
But when you did a lot of travelling, Tommy, and representing obviously the GB and Scotland, did you ever used to sort of swap kit with other athletes and that? That was a thing. I've been fortunate to not to the level you have, obviously, but I've been fortunate to a few representations here and there and running, taking me to a few interesting places. And some of the kit I would get. Also, briefly on my background, some of my running has been as well as having recently run for Scotland, despite the accent. But also representing the British Police in European Championships across country and track, and also when I was in the army many moons ago. But yeah, and some of the kit we would have, like sometimes it would be like I think it was like Fast Tracks or Pro Star, and then you see the other teams there. They'd have like the Germans would have the Adidas kit, Spanish sometimes Asics. I don't know you were sponsored, but yeah, clearly we would try and swap kit. So what did you got any stories there?
Yeah, I get that one. The one I ran in Warsaw, I swapped my Scotland tracksuit, which was just basically an Adidas tracksuit. It said Scotland on the back with felt letters for a Polish one. Not because I wanted a Polish one, but because I felt dead sorry for the Polish athletes because they had absolutely nothing. They had absolutely nothing. So I said, well, here a brand new tracksuit, and I took the Polish one. I've swapped a few other things, but I used to have a couple of Kenyan vests actually, but through the years you get rid of them, you just throw them away because they're just taking up room in your drawers.
Nah.
That's right.
I used to trade in them now and again in Greenock, run about Greenock a Kenyan vest, but after a while you just get rid of them.
Yeah, I like to put a different vest occasionally. You get a few straight. Even when nowadays, it's more when I'm just on holiday in Tenerife or somewhere, and I put the Spanish vest on them because in fact that one was a Spanish police vest. So occasionally I get a few double takes. Like, who's this guy? Do we need to be a bit wary here? We've got to be on our best behaviour. But there you go. And so just going back to a couple of things you mentioned. Obviously the T-shirt I've got on here, the Loch Lomond 10K, which was obviously the Vale of Leven 10K. I think it was Polaroid back in the day. I don't know if you've done that yourself, but yeah, obviously I had the privilege of meeting Lachie Stewart there just a couple of weeks ago, and I met him there. I think back in 2017 when I did it for the first time. And obviously, I know about his 10,000 meters. So that must have been great running with him back in the day.
Well, the Vale of Leven 10K was my biggest payday ever.
Oh, was it?
Right, but used to be part of the Polaroid series, right? So you had 3 or 4 races. So the last race always had a good prize at it. So in previous years, it was a trip to America, right? Wow. So I'd been second a couple of times, and I was determined I was going to win it. So I can't remember the year, but I remember I won it this year. So I was standing with Cammy Spence and a couple other boys at the Inverclyde Athletics, and they shouted up, like, Tom, the first prize, blah, blah, come up, receive your cheque. And I'm going, what happened to the flights to America? And the guy said, no, we've done away with it, it's a cheque. So he's handing me the cheque, and I'm looking at it, and I'm saying, 500 quid, that's pretty decent. You know, that's pretty decent. So I went back and I stood with my mates, and they're like, ah, fuck's sake, Tommy, that's some deal you've got there. And I'm like, aye, 500 quid, eh? They went, no, read it again. 5,000.
All right, nice.
Wow.
Apparently, a sponsor had come in at the last minute. I'm trying to remember the name of it. It was a drinks group. It was like somebody made soft drinks and came in at the last minute. Up $5 grand for the first woman and $5 grand for the first man.
That's wild.
So,
Brilliant.
You just wouldn't get that these days.
Oh, no.
No, that's good. Good to hear. Listen, I will just say, guys, apologies. As I said, I'm not long in the door from work, and I'm not as prepared as I'd like to be. I'm on 2% battery, so if I do cut off, I'll leave it to you and Sean to finish up. But just on that note, talking about like prize money and stuff like that. Obviously, there's certain races where I guess a lot of us look at it. Those that when you're competing or you're being quite competitive in certain races, we all have a look. We know where the prize money is. You know sometimes who's going to turn up. You have a look at the entry list, or sometimes I'm sure you've had that yourself in the past, talking to various people and being a bit sort of coy, any races coming up at the weekend and trying to keep it a bit quiet. I mean, going back down to sort of my level, for me, it would be like even the Swanley Christmas Caper back in the day. I used to win that race, and you'd get a turkey, which was it was a big turkey as well. It was enough to feed a family of 10, so that kept me popular in the household. But so little races like that. But just on that note, you're talking about that sum you won there. I mean, I don't know if you're familiar with it. It's not a race I've ever done myself. I would like to, but a friend of mine's done this race, and he sort of told me about it. But there's this man versus horse race. I'm sure you might have heard of it.
I've seen that. Aye.
Yeah, I don't know if you're familiar. There was a guy, Hugh Lobb, and he won it. I think it was £1,000. It went up every year. Unless you beat the horse, and then I think no one had won it for 25 years, so he won it, 25 grand. So happy days.
I think I've seen a bit on the TV. That guy actually winning it. I think it was televised. I had recorded it. I thought that was brilliant. I thought it was fantastic. I used to. In the end up, I had an agent that used to get me races abroad, so you get appearance money and different things, and prize money. So I done okay at the end, but no, I was the same as you. I used to look about for races, local races. Decent prize one, whether it was 50 quid or 100 quid. It's
definitely
something, because British people didn't appreciate what athletes do. I think they do appreciate it more now, but certainly when I was on, didn't. As I said to you, I went running international race and nobody turned up in Scotland. Nobody. Ran loads abroad in like 20,000. I went to a wee place called Lograno in the north of Spain.
Okay.
And there was about 30,000 people showed up to watch it, because all the top athletes in Spain were running, like Prieta and all that were running. Everybody showed up to see these guys running, and it was absolutely out of this world. See, to be running in a crowd like that, just the whole racetrack was just covered with people, maybe 4 or 5 deep. So that's the difference. Most European countries will support their countrymen, whether they're playing tiddlywinks, whether they're running a marathon, whether they're using, I don't know, a spear or something. They'll just show up to watch, whereas we don't. It's like mostly football.
Yep. Yeah, that's it. No, in fact, just lastly on the note of prize money, because it's an interesting subject, and we could probably chat all day about different races and keeping it who's doing what, all that sort of thing. I remember there was a race down south that I did a couple of times. It doesn't take place anymore, but it was a new kind of sort of race where they had sponsors and they were trying to build it up, sort of thing. And it's a massive shopping centre. I don't think it is anymore, but it was the biggest shopping centre in Europe at the time. It was a place called Bluewater, just near Dartford, actually. So this race was coming up. We'd seen it. We'd a lot of local runners had seen what the prize money was. There was a 5K. It was sponsored by Land Rover, cross country kind of 5K challenge race. And then there was also like a 10K road race, and they both had different sort of prize money. I think it was maybe one down to certainly first 3, might be in the top 5. And anyway, I got there. It started at a ridiculously early time, which for me, I think it was about 6:30 in the morning the race started. They started that early because it was at Bluewater. They wanted to do it before the shoppers got in. I remember getting there. getting there really early, thinking, right, I fancy my chance. I'm gonna get something here, even if I don't win it. I think I'll be all right. I was with my ex-girlfriend at the time, and then we're in the car park, and she's like, "Oh, look at those two over there. They look sort of quite fit." And then there was this guy and his partner. They were head to toe in night gear, and I thought, "Oh, look all right." Like I thought it was just one of those, like his and hers kind of gear. They'd been out to like sweatshop, and they've got all the night gear, all the gear, no idea. And then I'm looking, I'm thinking, and then I look a bit closer, and then he's got a rucksack on with Great Britain written on it. I'm like, oh, here we go. And then unfortunately, he's no longer with us. Very talented guy from Windsor Slough, Eton and Hounslow, Sam Hoffian. He was some runner. I don't know what, I think he was down to sort of circa 13:20 for 5,000 metres. So very, very good runner. And then I'm like, oh, well, here we go. We've got a race on our hands. So, yeah, guys like that would turn up. And then he did the Land Rover Challenge. He went flying off like, ridiculously quick, even quicker for him. And after as I spoke to him, he was worried because he saw one of the other guys there who was an ex-army guy, and he was like, oh, I thought he was going to be better on the climb, so he just went for it. Then he did the 10k, but a few Kenyans turned up, so I don't think he finished that one. This guy Sam Hoffian, but he got his prize day for the 5k, and then tried to double up and do the 10k. But yeah, so yeah, there you
go. There we go. So, so what you're saying about obviously running internationally and obviously winning races and 30,000 people there as well. And then obviously that from there you qualified for the British Cross Country Championships as well, yeah?
That's right.
1992
went for the trial. I can always remember it was down at Basingstoke. And obviously the guys that was in front of you were like guys like Eamon Martin and Richard Nyaraka and guys like, I think I finished 5th or 6th. Chris Robinson was just behind us, so the two of us made the team. And I remember the British Athletics Press slated the team, absolutely slaughtered us, saying we were all too old because everyone was over 30. Right? We were all too old, and it should be guys like, I'm trying to remember the guy, Rob Denmark, is that the name? Rob Denmark, because he was a track specialist, should be going here, and named a few other ones that should be going to this World Cross, and the British Athletics made a wrong choice. And so, well, the rest is history. We won a bronze medal. Everybody ran really well. And I remembered, I'm trying to remember the name of it's a boy that worked for Athletics Weekly who'd really slaughtered us when he really tore into us. And we were in the hotel in Boston and walked into the lift, and who was standing there but this guy? It was brilliant, man. He got absolutely ripped up at me. So it's the golden oldies, So I just slaughtered us, man. Absolutely slaughtered us. But I changed my mind.
But even though you were like, no, you're all in your 30s and stuff, but it was around about that era, you had guys like
the guys. Eamon Martin went to win the London Marathon.
Yeah, exactly. And
Richard Nyaraka. I remember Eamon Martin was a really nice guy. He was one of the boys, really down to earth. And I was we were in a toy store, funny enough, believe it or not. Me, him, and Chris Robinson were in Schwartz toy store over in Boston. And Richard Nyaraka walked by, and Eamon Martin said to me, I'd fucking hate you with him. And I'm saying, now, what's wrong with him? And he went, he's too fucking brainy, he can't learn nothing. Nyaraka could speak about 8 languages, and I think he'd been to Oxford or Cambridge, and he was like going back there to work as a lecturer or something. He was really, he was reading books about that thing, but he was over in Boston. And he was like, his life must be fucking boring. He said he can't learn nothing.
That's amazing.
Eamon was brilliant, man. He was a better lad. So he was. That's a good trip.
What was it? Little did you know that that team would be the last team, the British team, to medal at the World Cross Country. And there's
they've changed the whole format now. I believe it's not even the way. It's not a 7.5 mile anymore. I believe it's like 10k. Is that right?
10k, aye.
10k. It's every second year.
Aye, every second year, aye.
The World Cross used to be for everybody, for most countries, was the pinnacle, apart from the Olympics and obviously the World Champs and stuff like that for track runners, but that was your distance runners' goal. See, because you had guys like for I'm trying to think, like Dieter Baumann, who'd won like the Olympic 5,000 and was a brilliant 1,500 metre runner, coming up against like marathon runners, and everybody was running like 12.5k cross country. Just like everybody was just in the pot. It was just one of them races that everybody wanted to go to.
Aye, because what that's my next question. Like, what was that feeling like though? Like walking onto that stage at the ceremony as a team getting a world championship medal. What was the feeling?
It was amazing. It was amazing. I'll never forget it. It was absolutely amazing. It was just it's probably one of the best. I think it's always better. But I even said that I won hundreds of individual stuff, but see when you win a team medal and you're there, it's like when I won the Scottish 4x4, I won it four times. I think it felt better than winning the individual.
Yeah,
because you're part of a team. It's like a team thing. I know it was really good, really good. Do you know when I won the Scottish 4x4 cross country, national cross country with Cambuslang, I gave my team medal to a guy called Jim Scarborough,
right?
Who was one of the administrators. I don't know, helper out or whatever you want to call him. He was always there when Cambuslang were running. He was always there, and I said, "Here, Jim, you're a bigger part of this team than what I'm. You deserve something."
Nice
over the moon, so he was. He was well over the moon. He was really chuffed with it. But I think he did. You know what I mean? He was just one of them guys. He would be holding all the gear. He would make sure you got to the start of the race. He would make sure if you wanted something, or I need something for my shoes, or I'm going to get a couple of spikes. He would be there, and he didn't need to worry about anything. He was a man.
Aye.
You just turn to Jim, and Jim would go and do it for you.
Just the VIP in the team.
And he would probably run 3 times the course, cheering guys on. He would be everywhere. Every time you turn a corner on a course, he'd be there. He'd go, "What the fuck's he doing that?" He'd just be everywhere on the course. But brilliant. No, they had a really good set. A wee bit like the Inverclyde was when I was in it. There was a lot of sort of help and support, and you need that in a club. You need that in a club.
Yeah, definitely.
Not like Glen Park Carriers. Did I tell you about Glen Park Carriers? Go on YouTube and put in Glen Park club history, and 5 years of our history's disappeared. Just disappeared. And it was the 5 year that I won the 2 Scottish titles and about 18 West District titles. It just disappeared.
Surely they could have missed it.
Somebody just absolutely forgot in 5 years and forgot to put it in.
5 years of time, Murray.
I'll need to drop him an email and tell him.
Absolutely.
Oh, wow.
But a lot of your success was on the country, and one kind of particular Scottish national championship that you won, a particular world-class athlete turned up, Steve Ovett.
Yeah.
And then all the media all showed up, and they didn't even have you as one of the people who.
No, I wasn't even a favourite. I was in the top 4 or 5 with him. No, that was my very first win, 1989, in Hawick, where there was about 6 inches of snow on the course. Yeah. Oh, it was a real slog. It suited me. I felt as if I was floating along.
Aye.
And that was your first win, Tommy. So, and I might have missed this already, but how many did you win, Scottish national individuals?
On the country.
Yeah.
Or anything.
On the country.
3.
Brilliant. Okay.
3, and I think I've got umpteen silver and bronze medals as well.
Right. And did I get that right? Sorry, so the first one that you won, was Steve Ovett was in that race, was he?
Well, that was the 3rd time I beat him that year.
Right.
I beat him 3 times. And he said to me, he says, "Every time I fucking race you, it's like a mud pack." That's like, that's cross country, Steve.
So I like that we. Sorry, I think I liked the story here. It was the British media. Even after the race, they all ran over to Steve Ovett.
That's right.
To be fair to Steve Ovett, he said, "The winner's over there. Go and speak to Tommy, and then come and speak to me." I thought that was a really nice gesture. That was real professional from him.
It was brilliant. He's actually a really nice guy. I mean, obviously because I'd met him 3 times in different races. He's a really nice guy. And he came up here and ran for, I think he ran for Annan Athletic. That's who he ran for.
All right.
He bought a big house down in Annan, and he eventually converted it into a huge hotel.
All right.
So he ran for them. He ran for Annan Athletic. That's why he was running the Scottish. And he ran the West Districts. I think that's where I first beat him, the West Districts, which was held in Kilmarnock. and then he ran in an open cross country race down in Kilmarnock, and I beat him again down there.
Wow.
Aye.
Seb Coe can even do that. I mean, but you beat Steve
There you
Steve
go,
Vett
I
every
beat
time you came across him.
I actually bet him, and I raced him, and I raced Steve Cram a few times in cross country races and road races. And I actually had my dinner in Steve Cram's house during I don't know if you ever remember the Northumberland All-Terrain Marathon series that was on Channel 4.
No.
Oh, but I read about it when in your book.
Yeah, it was a race held over 5 days, and each day you would run on a different surface, would be road, track, cross country, hill. One was on the beach on the sand, and the overall distance would add up to the marathon distance. And Steve Cram started off the first 2 races, then he got injured, so he ended up becoming one of the show presenters. And we ended up with our dinner back at his house and stuff. That was brilliant. I mean, Brendan Foster was heavily involved in it because it was their company. I think it was Novo International. They used to do all the filming for these shows, like like the Great North Run. That's them would do all that stuff. So,
you see.
Yeah, I often see a quote that sort of gets banded around sort of Christmas time, and I won't read the whole quote out, but I don't know if you're familiar with this. It's the gist of it is it's a quote from Seb Coe talking about he'd been out on Christmas Day in the morning, he'd run 12 miles, and he was feeling pretty good about himself. And then as the day progressed, he started to feel a little bit uneasy, and he's thinking, I bet Steve Vett's gone out for his second session of the day. So then Seb Coe went out in the snow and did his second session of the day. And he said he bumped into Steve Vett a few days later and said to him, I told him that I was feeling uneasy, so I went out and did my second run. And Steve Vett turned around to him and said, did you only run twice on Christmas Day? So I'd like to think that Steve didn't actually go out at all, and he had his dinner.
Saturday night Christmas dinner that day.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I don't think Cole was one of my favourite guys. I didn't really like Cole. I don't know, there was just something aloof about him. But I suppose sometimes that's the way he can come across. Maybe that's the way he handled being a runner,
Well, he's a Tory, to be fair, but let's not get into that.
Yeah, that's another thing, isn't it? There was all sorts of rumours that they were experimenting with athletes when they were down in Loughborough.
Right.
So,
wow.
Fair enough.
Not saying anything, but I'm just saying that's the rumours that used to go about. A lot of experimental stuff going on at Loughborough.
Yeah. Rumours. But
Do you know what's actually sickened me for it and sort of helped me decide to give up running was just near the end of my career there was loads of stuff going about. EPO was the favourite. You can go over and I get told a story by what's his name? Paul. Great marathon runner. Paul Evans.
Paul Evans, yeah.
Paul Evans, we were at a race together. And Paul said he'd went to sign the contract for the London Marathon. And he was sitting with Dave Bedford in a London restaurant, and in walked a guy called Vincent Russo. And Paul said, "What's he doing here?" And Bedford said, he's going to run the marathon. And he says, you know, he's called the EPO King. This was a guy who had wrote his contract that if the temperature got above a certain limit, he wouldn't run because they hadn't worked out by that time. They hadn't worked out in the early days that this stuff made your blood go like fucking sludge in hot weather. You had to take like aspirin or something to keep it thinner. They hadn't worked that out by then, so he knew he couldn't run in really hot days.
Yeah.
Wow.
And Bedford said, I don't give a fuck what he's allegedly. I don't care what he's on. If he can run fast, he's in my race,
There you go. Well, things have moved on a little bit now, haven't they, Sean? It's now burritos, isn't it? That are laced with EPO and stuff. There you go.
Apparently burritos, was it Shelby Houlihan from America?
That's the one, yeah.
Then she got caught during COVID when there was hardly any drug. I think it was towards the end of COVID, and then drug testing started again, and she's like, "Oh, it was the burrito. It was the burrito." Like, how do you know it was a burrito? And
who was the German that won the 5,000 meters at the Olympics? That said that his toothpaste was doctored with EPO. I said, you need to be cleaning your teeth all day long, wouldn't you?
It's wild. Wild, some of the stories. But what about you? So obviously the World Cross Country Championships, and then obviously that you slaughtered Steve Ovett 3 times, but then you moved on to like, as far as I know, you were into World Mountain, but you weren't training for the mountains. You were actually training for a marathon, and then
Eindhoven Marathon.
that kind of fell through, but it just so happens there was the World Mountain Championships.
Yeah, what happened was I was running 120 mile a week leading up to the Eindhoven Marathon. My agent phoned us and said, Tommy, they want you to pay your own airfare and they'll reimburse you when you go over there. So I was like, no, that's not the way it works. I says, that's your job. You deal with it. You tell me to get my tickets. And they kept coming back saying, no, tell Tommy to pay it yourself and we'll reimburse him. And I just kind of smelt a rat and I said, no, I'm not telling him I'm not going then. And it turned out what had happened is some other agent had come in and offered them 3 Kenyan athletes, unknowns, nobody knew who they were, but 3 Kenyans anyway, for the same price they were getting me for. So they opted for the 3 Kenyans, but it didn't matter. So I was really fit as a fiddle. And Doug Gillen, who wrote for the Glasgow Herald, he was the athletics writer, had said to me, why don't you run the Scottish trial for the World Mountain Running Championships, because it's getting held in Edinburgh this year? And I was like, I'm not really into any of that crap. I thought that was just for these kind of ladies that ran up and down hills, you know. Used to meet them at some of these meetings. But I said, all right, I'll give it a go, and absolutely wiped the flare with everybody. I mean, just Bobby Quinn was almost a minute behind me, I think, in the trial. Exactly. So that was it. I ended up in the World Mountain Running Championships at Edinburgh, and after seat, I think we went up and down it about 5 times.
Oh, that's...
I had no clue. how to run the race, because I'd only done that one previously. It was just Scottish athletes we were up against. But Dave Cannon, who I told you used to advise me, he came to a fell running, mountain running championship sort of background, and he told me to follow one of the English athletes. I'm trying to remember this big guy's name, because he'd won it the previous year. So this boy went away like got a bat out of hell, and I followed him, and he broke miles clear, and then he collapsed into a heap. So that kind of left me in the lead for the whole race, and then into I think it was the second last downhill, an Italian boy passed me, because these guys could fly down the hill, and they were unbelievable. A guy called Luciano Fragone passed me. So then we had to go up again, and I overtook him and left him for dead. But the finish was in a downhill, and then about maybe 200 yards from the line, I could just hear the breathing coming, because he just flew right by me again, tipped us. So it was a wee bit of inexperience for me. I think I should have, if I ran it more conservatively at the start, I think I'd have probably won it. But so ifs and buts now, I get second, so that's what it was. But here, I'll tell you an interesting thing about that. After the race, Fragone was first, me second, and then I think it was 2 Italians third and fourth. These guys were amazing at it. So we all get pulled in for drug testing. And you know what it's like, hot day, you've ran 7.5 miles full pelt up and down mountains. You're not going to pass a sample within the next hour. You know them 3 guys were out there in 20 minutes? Passed a full sample. Yep. I couldn't believe that. Could not believe it.
You must have been well hydrated.
Well, what I'll tell you, if you ever get a chance, read a book called Breaking the Chain.
Right.
It's a cycling book, but it tells you all about doping and how to dodge doping, how they done it in the Tour de France. It was a Festini team. The Festini team got caught, and this was a doctor, and he's somewhat a canary, and ended up writing a book. It's called Breaking the Chain, and it's amazing what they done, how they got away with it, and how they could pass drug tests.
Yeah,
they used to get like a condom, right? Condom-like thing filled with clean urine, and then that would go up the back passage of the athlete when it calls for drug test, so it warms it up to body temperature. And then they had a small tube just running right under to the end of the penis that you couldn't see. So you're standing there, you just squeeze the bum cheeks, and out comes this urine right into the water, no problem. Amazing. I mean, wow. Amazing how they got away with it. That's how they beat the drug tests.
I mean,
there's a story.
I mean, going to the trouble of doing that just to cheat, it's
meant a lot of money to them. You know, that's the thing about sports, a lot of money. But do you know, I was still there at the drug test 3 hours later. drinking can after can of juice before I
Yeah.
could pass the full sample. Them guys,
Jesus.
in and out 20 minutes
20 minutes they were in it. Wow.
after running 7.5 mile hill run.
I think when I did Frankfurt Marathon, I'm pretty sure I said to my girlfriend, we sat down to dinner, I was like, right, I finished that marathon it started I think it was 9:30. So I finished that at 11:10 and we went for dinner at 8 o'clock that night and I still hadn't peed. And I drank a litre of water, drank 3 beers, still couldn't pass anything. So
I was notoriously bad, Sean. See, like drug testing, I was notoriously bad at trying to pass samples. I remember when we done the World Cross trials again down in Newcastle area, and I made a team. It was a year it was getting held in Durham, so I made a team. So picked in for finished fourth, which was dead unfortunate. I'd actually medalled in the trials, but somebody tripped me up, so I went from second back to seventh. So I got up and I ended up getting back into the race and finished fourth. But anyways, as we pulled in for drug testing, again, drinking umpteen cans of juice, water. And you can imagine there's a bus sitting in the car park with all the Scottish athletes waiting to get back up to Scotland. So they're waiting on me. So an hour and a half later, I've managed to produce just enough and no more. So we get back on the bus, and it's assured that as soon as you're on the bus, you need to stop, I need the toilet. I think we stopped about 20 times, and I think I filled about two 2-litre bottles on the bus as well. It was unbelievable.
That's brilliant. That's amazing. I've never ever been stopped. I'm not good. I'm not a good enough runner to be considered to be stopped.
Well, I get drug tested twice in my house.
Did you?
Guy just coming to your door. Just coming to the door.
Well, good job you had a working doorbell then, eh?
Yep.
Might be different these days, but everyone's got a Ring doorbell. Who's there? But no, that's mental. But no, even after, I remember standing at the Greenock track one night, Tommy, and I was getting ready to do my session, and you were there as well. And I remember, I think Janice Hendry said to you, like, "Oh, Tommy, was it your birthday recently?" You're like, "Aye, I did the Troon 10K, and I won it on my 44th birthday." I was just like, I remember at an 18-year-old boy, I was like, he's 44 and he's winning races. And I'm just like, and I can't break 60 for a 400 metre lap. And even in your 40s, you were still
I was still running okay. I think running's like any sport. It's like anything. You can train as hard as you like, but I think everybody's blessed with some sort of natural ability at something. I just happen to be lucky I found mine. A lot of people might never find theirs. You can train to be so good, but I think you just got to have that wee bit extra. I don't know what it is, but I just happen to be lucky to find mine.
Yeah. I'm just interested, Tommy, with your talking about the sort of the hill running and stuff that you were doing, and obviously pretty successful at that. Obviously, for those of our 10 or so listeners, for our listeners, local to where we are, sort of in Inverclyde, where was your go-to kind of areas to train? I mean, obviously, some of the places that I've run on that I guess would be areas that would be pretty tough for me that I wouldn't always enjoy. But if I was training for that type of race, obviously you've got the cut in Greenock. I mean, I've ran around there a few times. But did you ever venture up to the Kilpatricks at all? Do you ever run up there?
Never done any hill training at all, Mark.
Right.
I ran up the cut. Most of my training was up round about the cut header. But right. where I stayed, for me to get to the cut was about a mile and a half uphill. So they start right from my house right to the top of the cut was about a mile and a half. So that was the start of every training run, apart from when I went to track nights. Every start of my run was a mile and a half up to the cut. But you can't go anywhere in Greenock without running up a hill, really, can you? So
that's true, yeah.
I never ever used hill training either. See, like how a lot of people done hill sessions. Never found that interesting.
Right. Okay.
I didn't understand it.
Yeah.
I was an actually good hill runner, not for training on it. I was just naturally good at it.
That's brilliant. You get a world silver at the mountain no hill sessions. That's amazing. Just shows the kind of caliber athlete you were. Right.
Well, your running style should change whether you're running uphill, downhill, or on a flat. It's your running style,
Yeah, because we're talking to Ian Beattie last week, the chair of UK Athletics, and he's the race director of the West Highland Way, and he was saying like, and his belief is that if you're an endurance athlete, you're an endurance athlete. Like if you can run, you can kind of run on every surface. You know, as long as you're a well trained endurance athlete, you're fit enough to do it. You know.
I agree with that. I mean, because I've won a Scottish title. I've won a Scottish title indoors. It's
Mm-hmm.
just if you can run, you can run. You know, doesn't matter what the surface is.
Yeah, Sean, as you mentioned, Ian there, we were chatting to him a couple of weeks ago, and he'd done the Inverclyde Marathon. Just again having a quick look on the Scottish distance running sort of history. I think you did that. Was that? I don't know if that was just when you were started with a job with Inverclyde Council. It says, and you got around. Was it 3:57? Was that right?
3:57. Right. That, yeah.
So I'm interested to know if you did that race again, and also again, I don't know enough about your sort of history. Did you ever? I noticed earlier on we were talking, and you said you were training for a marathon when you ended up doing a different race.
Yeah.
So did you ever really progress with a marathon? Where did you get to with that?
No, I done one other marathon, and it's because I won it as a prize to go to New York.
Okay.
So I went there totally unprepared. Well, I wouldn't say I was totally unprepared. I'd still been training, but I went there with a view of trying to run 2:15.
Okay.
That was in my head.
Yeah.
So I had a wee bit of hassle trying to get my number. Something happened. They'd fucking messed up, and apparently there was no number for me. But then eventually they got me a number, and I said, right, is this with the elite athletes? Aye, you're with the elite athletes. So we're lining up on the bridge, and then out of a side street or a side area, about 2,000 firemen, policemen, or sort of all these sort of people that work for New York got in front of me and were put in front of me.
Right.
So then I went away like a bat out of hell trying to make up, because you know when you run the marathon, if you're back in the ranks, there's no way you're getting through them quickly. So I was trying to bust my way through, and I got through them. I was trying to make up lost time, and everything was going great. Honestly, it was absolutely brilliant until I hit about 19 mile, and then the cramps started, and I went through the running sort of high 5s to low 6-minute miles to something like that. I can't remember. No, must have been faster than that. But to end up running about 8-minute, 9-minute miles in the last 3 or 4, just running through quicksand.
Right.
Oh, couldn't wait to see the end of that race.
What did you end up with?
2:30.
2:30. Okay.
I hated it. See, the last 6 mile was just horrendous.
Mm-hmm.
But I didn't know where I was, so I couldn't even stop. I was trying to stop because I didn't know where I was.
Exactly.
It was horrendous. Funny, but horrendous.
That's some career you've had. I mean, national titles, world championship medals as well, and all from a guy from Greenock. You know, it's not exactly a massive town, but somebody, and there's not been just yourself. There's been like a Laurie Spence making Commonwealth Games from this team, and even local ones. You know, Mark Pollard winning national titles, Craig Ruddy running for GB, Johnny Glenn all from the area.
That coach marked his first cross country title.
You did, aye. I remember that. Yeah, I remember seeing you and Mark at a track. I think it was a couple.
And then he decided, for some unknown reason, he decided to go back to Norrie.
There we go. I was going to ask you a bit because obviously I've met Mark in more recent years towards sort of the latter stages of his sort of prolific running. Obviously, he managed to win the Scottish National. But yeah, what was when you first met Mark? Was he sort of a youngster sort of coming through then? Did you have many kind of tussles with him over the country yourself?
I don't know. I think maybe. No, I don't think we were that close together age-wise for him to be running against me. I think we were a bit of a gap there. He might have run a couple of the senior races when I was still running, but I'm not really sure.
Okay.
But we used to train. We got in tone. We used to train quite a lot at the track, and on just like the easy runs and Sunday runs and stuff like that. And it was with Norrie Hay, who's a good coach, but obviously wasn't paying off for Mark. But I thought some of his ideas were a bit strange, but. So I said to Mark, look, come and train with me and I'll give you sessions to do and stuff like that. And here he won the national, I think it was through at Falkirk, he won the national cross country. And then after the race, we were talking about training and what's lay in the future, and he was talking about trying to make the Commonwealth Games. And I would say, that's good, we'll start to look at some different sessions and stuff like that. And then a few weeks later, he decided to go back to Norris. So
Fair enough.
His choice. I'm not going to try and stone in somebody's road. If he thinks he's doing the right thing, it's up to him.
Yeah.
But yeah, he goes into that title, anyways.
Mhm.
But aye, but so it's been great having you on and talking about your
Yep.
brilliant running career, and you've been really funny
Great.
as well. And
Yeah.
but for anyone watching this, Tommy, who like who isn't like being Pete. Well, Pete's a better runner than me. I'm not a brilliant runner, but for anyone who's maybe just starting out running and watching this, like, have you got any advice for anyone just taking up running or thinking about getting into running at all? Or
Well, just go find a local club. I think that's a key point if you're just starting out running, because it's where you'll probably get a lot of good advice, some bad advice as well, but a lot of good advice. And it's good. I think it's good to hear amongst people. It's running, because if you're just on your own, and I was quite single-minded. I was okay, but for a lot of guys, I think you're better getting into amongst a local club where you'll get sort of knowledgeable people, coaches and stuff like that will give you good advice. I mean, I'll tell you one more wee story before we go. This is how selfish a runner I was, because I was single-minded. I was out in a training run, 20-mile training run with me, Tommy Tippin, and a guy called Stuart Hodge.
aye,
And we were running up by the IBM road, which is hill, and Stuart accidentally put 1 foot on the pavement and one off, and sort of twisted his ankle on the curb. And he said, "Oh, geez, I think I've sprained my ankle." He says, "What are we going to do?" And I says, "Well, I know what I'm going to do. I'm going to finish my training run. You're on your own." And just ran away and left him. You had to do it. It wasn't as if he was like stuck up a mountain. I mean, there was going to be cars going by. You could have flagged one down, but I had to finish my training run.
I had a similar incident recently with a friend of mine, Craig Shields from Garskeep Harriers, but he's made of slightly softer stuff, so I had to wait with him until his missus came and picked him up in the car. But I think I finished my run after that. But once he was away, so there you go. But just Tommy, just quickly, sorry again. Yeah, great what Sean's saying. Obviously, I'm sure we could chat for a lot longer, and you've got many stories. Did I pick up correctly? Have you got a book out? Is that right? Have you got an autobiography out there? So
yes, there is a book.
Know about that.
You can email me. I'll send you a copy to anybody.
Yep,
brilliant.
And if anyone watching it wants it, send me a message and I'll send you the book privately. Tommy, email it to me if it's okay with Tommy.
A copy, that's right, Sean. You can give it to him.
I'll send you. I don't want to put your email publicly in case
Okay,
Steve Ovett emails you like, "Here you didn't beat me 3 times," and But no, just one last thing, Tommy. Well, last couple of things. So first thing, how do you from your day? You can see, like, obviously it's quite hard to make a British team, but it must be quite good seeing now a lot of Scottish people, smashing the British scene and meddling at major championships.
Oh, fantastic! Aye, absolutely. I don't watch a lot of athletics now, but I do. I mean, I've picked up on that. There's a lot of Scottish athletes now in British teams. Probably a fair share, maybe about a third of your British teams are Scottish athletes. It's great. It's fantastic. Obviously, something's going right.
Yeah.
I wish it had been going right when I was running, because it was all wrong when I was running.
And also as well, I think like you said, there was the Isle of Man. It was a big championship, and there was 2 man in the dug watching. Have you seen a kind of difference now in athletics? Like, more people in Scotland are taking more interest in it and going to spectate, or is it kind of really about the same?
I think races like the Edinburgh cross country race, obviously that's televised, so you get a big crowd there. But I don't know if it's changed much otherwise. Maybe it is. Maybe it's better publicised now and advertised, so it might be a big change. But you'll not get a lot of your normal Joe Blogs going to watch a cross country race, or a road race. But that's where it differs from the continent. They'll just go and watch sport, regardless of what the sport is.
Yeah.
But
no, one last thing for myself. I'm like Inverclyde Marathon. I remember talking to Tom Tracy and that about it, and I was like, why don't they run it anymore? And they were just saying that it's just too much money involved and too many road closures and stuff and that as well. Do you feel that it's something that the council and the town should come back together and try and bring something like the Inverclyde Marathon back?
Maybe not a marathon. I don't think a marathon's, because I think most people, if they're going to run a marathon, want to run one of the big city marathons. Maybe bring back a 10k or a half marathon. That'd be interesting.
Yeah. Can you look at it?
I mean, 10k is an ideal distance for whether you're an elite athlete, middle of the road athlete, or just a beginner. A 10k is the ideal distance.
Yeah, I agree as well. Because I think you look at like the Paisley 10k, there's thousands of people there, thousands, and you can get a good course. And the boys, you can get a flat 10k in Greenock as well. You can get
great courses in Greenock.
Aye, but it's if you did want a hill race as well, just head up the cut as well. And but no, it's been great having you on, Tommy. I hope to see you running at some point again. But
you'll see me in a football field and the man in the middle. Maybe that's the only time you'll see me running.
I know it's been amazing having you on, and it's been great sharing your story again, and just reminding people, here's the kind of calibre we had, and just passing on your advice and your wisdom as well. But Pete, have you got anything else you'd like to ask Superstar Tommy?
No, I don't think so for now. I mean, there are plenty more questions that I could ask, but I don't want to keep him too long. Could be here sort of all day. No, it's been really interesting and worthwhile to hear some stories from an athlete that's achieved so much. And thanks a lot. Obviously, it's been great to meet you for the first time as well.
Anytime you ever want to get me back on again, guys, I could talk all night.
Absolutely.
Thank you. All right.
Cheers, Tommy. Thank you.
Cheers, guys.